The views, thoughts, and opinions expressed in this podcast belong solely to those expressing them and do not necessarily reflect the OSIP Foundation Incorporated or any other group or individual. This podcast may contain dialogue or subject material that could be considered for mature audiences only. All aspects of how you play the game and the OSIP Foundation Incorporated are protected by copyright and other state and federal intellectual property laws. Unauthorized use without the express written consent of the OSIP Foundation Incorporated is strictly prohibited. If you're interested in sponsoring How You Play the Game, please email us at podcast@osipfoundation.org. Your sponsorship may be tax deductible.
Allow myself to introduce myself. My name is Richie Cunningham, and this is my wife, Oprah.
Is that from Family Guy?
No, it's from Austin Powers.
Oh!
That's basically all I got. It was either that or...
Well,
what?
you had sort of a Stewie accent there.
I was going more for an Austin Powers accent.
Okay, and I was like...
Yeah.
Because Family Guy parodies so many things...
That's fair.
You automatically assume it's from Family Guy. I mean, Family Guy is like... is a just a treasure trove of Mandela effects.
Yeah.
You know, like you think that it comes from them or they say something that may be slightly altered, right? And it's like you think that, oh, that's what it was.
Right, but in reality, it's a reference to something else.
Right.
Stewie Griffin and Austin Powers are two very, very different things. One of them is a Mike Myers vehicle created in the late 90s to mimic Sean Connery and James Bond and just make nothing but innuendo and, you know, and use Quincy Jones for music and this, that, the other. Mm-hmm. And the other one, Austin Powers.
Right.
So, listen, it was either go with that or the fact that right before we started, I scratched my mustache area here. And I was like, oh, that's right. I cut myself shaving. So do we want to go over stupid quotes or talk about my inability to run a razor blade across my face?
No, I get it.
Okay.
Yeah. I just shaved yesterday actually. And I was running my hand like sort of just like, you know, massaging my scalp, right?
It's what you do every day around this time.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it is Wednesday.
Yeah.
And that's a special day.
Yeah, because it ends in Y.
Right. So I was just like doing one of these things. I had like a headache and I was just like, ow. And I realized, oh, yeah, I forgot that I nicked my head a little bit. And it's like, it's so small, right? You don't even notice it.
That is what she said.
That is what she said. And that is what he said.
Because it was you.
Right.
Right. Okay.
So guess what? So yeah,
you're now dead. Let out through your head.
Right. So
that's what she said. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I get it. It's, you know, it's kind of like a bruise that you get that you realize.
Yeah.
Like Sarah gets those all the time.
Oh yeah. So does Caitlin.
And she's like, ow, what is this? What is this from? And
from
I'm
what
like,
is this?
From what is this? And then I go, from what is this? Then she rolls her eyes. She kicks me out for a few hours and then I come back.
Okay. Normally they're from walking into things and you don't realize that you walked into it.
Right.
You know, that seems to be the either that or balls. Baseballs.
Oh, so this is the first time, by the way, I am drinking soda.
So we went from balls to soda. Okay.
Yeah. No. Like,
and your first time in your 40 years you've ever drank soda.
No. I
drank
soda when I was younger, but I'm you know, I can't say what I'm drinking because we have to pay people. So
right. They have to pay for the advertisement.
Let me go into Mike Francesa mode.
Okay.
And take off the label here.
Especially on this audio only podcast.
Well, you know what? There we go.
Okay, good. Success, kid, right there.
Right. Right.
Well, speaking of success, kid, welcome to How You Play the Game, because that
Hey.
transition works perfectly every time.
Yeah.
Yep. The official podcast of the Yosef Foundation Incorporated. Yours truly, Jack Furlong, with you as we talk to you about what's going on as far as the world of sportsmanship is concerned. This is the first episode of the month of June. The time is flying by. The year is 2024. As always, check us out at osipfoundation.org. Contact the show using the email address podcast@osipfoundation.org. On social media, we're at facebook.com/osipfoundation. X and Instagram are at OSIP Foundation, hashtag How You Play the Game. And joining us, as always, is the producer engineer of the show, Mr. Sean Ryan. Sean, greetings. How's the soda?
Good. It's almost over. It's almost over.
And you mean gone?
Yeah. Well, how about that 500,000 piece Lego set of the
The Senate?
of the Imperial of the
Galactic Senate? Yeah. No, that was pretty heavy. That was
Yeah.
what do you think is worse, that or the Star Destroyer that you had to do?
Mm.
I mean, I feel like the Star Destroyer would be easier.
Yeah. So that was only 10,000 pieces.
Oh, excuse me.
And so, funny story about that. I have a replica version of the Executor Star Destroyer, Darth Vader's flagship.
Right.
And
And I always thought it was pronounced Executor, by the way.
when
We're
I was
talking-
younger, yeah, and
Yeah.
then Executor, right? So, and then I got it for Crimbus. I'm saying Crimbus like without even thinking about it.
Well,
Christmas.
Yeah.
Like, oh gosh, 10 years ago.
Maybe if that
12
teddy bear had some pasta in it,
Right.
you would say it right.
Check with your eyes.
Yeah.
And then so for New Year's, I brought it to my friend Kyle's, and I did not get sleep for 3 days straight putting
Because
this
you're
thing
just doing
together.
it. Yeah.
Oh, it was great. I mean, I was the best no sleep I've ever gotten,
Or not gotten.
or not. Well, no sleep I've gotten.
Okay.
Yeah,
Best sleep I didn't get.
the best sleep I didn't. The best. Yeah.
You should have
Right.
been in the Cinco sleepwatching chair.
Right. So we're just throwing tons of references.
No,
out
we
there.
are. We started with Stewie Griffin and Austin Powers, and we're ending with Tim and Eric. And
So I brought the Star Destroyer with me back because it was his house is in Hillsborough. So I brought it back with me up to Pompton Lakes at the time.
okay,
So I put it in the back seat of the car and I put the seatbelt on it.
safety first.
I wrapped it in saran wrap and I was like, there's no way. And my girlfriend at the time was like, well, we have to be careful. I'm like, and you know what? I'm going to put it in the front seat now and you're going to sit in the back.
Nice.
That was, that didn't last.
Yeah. That definitely sounds like a Seinfeldian end to a relationship right there.
Yeah, George Costanza builds
Yeah.
the Star Destroyer, and he doesn't want it. It's the most valuable thing right now.
So he's going to put it in the front seat, and the girlfriend is going to sit in the back.
I don't think we should see each other anymore. Checkmate.
Yeah.
Remember that the start of that one episode where I think it was the last episode of season 7. And George and his girlfriend are playing chess, and George is like, you see, you brought out your queen too soon.
Yep.
You got nowhere to go. What does she think she is? One of these feminists getting out of the house? No, the queen's old fashioned, likes to cook, be there, take care of her man. And then the girlfriend goes, checkmate. And George looks over the chessboard, leans over and goes, I don't think we should see each other anymore.
Yeah. That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
Man, now Seinfeld. Boy,
Yeah.
we're really going around the horn here.
We really are. I mean, we just hit the good ones, I guess. That's
Yeah.
also the title of my book.
Right. So, what is that about which we are speaking today?
So today we are going to speak about the breaking news that is the retirement of Angel Hernandez. So
Angel
yeah, so
Hernandez.
for the uninitiated, and I'm sure that there are plenty of people who excuse me, are not uninitiated, if that makes sense. Angel Hernandez, as I bring him up on Wikipedia, is a Cuban baseball umpire who has been working in Major League Baseball since 1991, and he since retired in May, and he has a reputation for being involved with several controversial incidents. And apparently, you kind of look at all the data of what has happened in his career, and what essentially has led him to this point and whatnot. And you can point out so many different things to where he just gets caught in the middle of stuff. And I think that I'm not even sure if it's worth going through all of the bad stuff, because there was so much bad stuff in terms of what the media and the players and the coaches, like everything that surrounds him, that points to him as being this poster child for bad umpiring, etc. It's not. I don't know if it behooves us to go through every single call, right? Because in my opinion, what has essentially happened is just a snowball effect, where you get caught at the wrong place at the wrong time. It becomes a bigger issue than it needs to be, and then more bad stuff happens, and it just gets worse and worse and worse. And the court of public opinion takes hold of this and runs with it, and he becomes the scapegoat, and he becomes a punchline, and he becomes just the face of bad umpiring. Right. And there's nothing that you can do to convince other people of of him being the opposite. Okay. And that really speaks to a lot of the issues that we have in competition these days, in that we see what we want to see and we hear what we want to hear. It's the fanboy experience, as we have discussed many, many times, where someone can point out a flaw with something that you might support, and the reaction is to basically do anything but address that flaw, whether that means point out someone else's flaw and distract people, whether that means just shout louder, whether that means come up with some sort of defense, no matter how invalid, to say that the flaw that you are citing is wrong. It doesn't matter. I mean, we see this in politics all the time, where people will support a candidate and they lack the ability to sit in the dissonance of saying, okay, the candidate that I support is not perfect, but I continue to support said candidate, and here's why. They don't want the defense mechanisms that they put up. They don't want any holes poked in them. They can't be found guilty of any inconsistencies or anything like that. There's no vulnerability. There's not. I mean, we could go on this dissertation forever, but in terms of Angel Hernandez, that's what has happened here. In that, the world of umpiring in baseball has created a punchline that is Angel Hernandez. If you want to talk about subjects like implicit bias, which is a very loaded term based upon the political leanings that are associated with it, what is happening here is that we have associated this man and his name with something negative already, and we are unaware of the aggressions that we create as a result of just him being in existence.
Right.
Okay. We see him walk onto the field as an umpire, and immediately we think we're screwed. Instead of saying,
well, funny thing actually about that is that, if your mentality is that, or not your mentality specifically, but I'm speaking,
in general, if someone's mentality is,
oh, we're all screwed, well, he could make bad calls for either team.
Right.
Like,
Exactly.
so what, I mean, I'm not saying that he's 100% of the time wrong, but like if you're of that mentality, then you should be like, well, if he's wrong a lot, then he should be wrong for both teams.
Exactly.
So what's the point?
You're that person is creating a this supposition that it's always going to be against me. I'm always the one getting screwed here, and you're assuming things that you can't assume.
Right.
Now on the flip side, in order to really be fair and honest with the way that the philosophy works, you can possibly place a reasonable bet that something might happen. You can be on the lookout for something to happen, but to be judgmental, to assume that something will absolutely happen, there's a fallacy to that argument. I had a philosophy teacher in college point this out to me, where he said, take a look at the law of gravity. In terms of gravity, you cannot say with 100% certainty that if I pick up this pen and I drop it, I let go of it, that it's going to fall to the ground because of the law of gravity. You can place a really, really good bet, and you can probably be 99.99% sure, and that can be, asymptotic to 100%. But you can never get to 100%. You just can't. Because there remains the slightest possibility that maybe the law changes for a quick moment. Okay. And he realizes that it's kind of a silly thing to say based upon what we know. But the fact of the matter is that he has a point, that you can't predict the future. Listen, you can have a really good bet, and he says, I'll go with me to AC right now. If that bet's on the table, I will lay all my money on the fact that if I let go of the pen, it's going to drop. Right. Okay, but just I can't tell you with 100% certainty that that's going to happen. And when I thought about that, I was like, yeah, that's true. So in this case, yeah, okay, you can be on the lookout that Angel Hernandez might, his reputation precedes him. But you can't guarantee it.
Right.
And essentially, when he announced his retirement, the news broke on Memorial Day, and then it was confirmed the next day. And a lot of stuff began to swirl around it. On one hand, there was this idea that Major League Baseball was basically paying him off to go away. On another hand, Hernandez came out publicly and said, no, I just want to spend more time with my family, etc. Regardless of whatever the truth may be, the world of social media, the world of pundits, the world of news, etc., erupted in what I thought was an incredibly inappropriate way, which was to celebrate his retirement as if to say goodbye and good riddance.
Right.
And what I want to do is highlight the people who came to his defense, because some of them are shocking in a way. And I think it says a lot that those people have kind of had this, for lack of a better term, come to Jesus moment. To say, maybe we've been too hard. So I'm going to start with an easy one, and that is Joe West. Joe West came out publicly and supported Angel. He went on the 670 The Score in Chicago on the Parkinson Spiegel show. And he said, quote, whether you want to believe it or not, he was good at it, referring to his ability to umpire. He continues by saying, I hate the fact that these people that sit behind a desk and get behind a computer and send out all these social media things, they don't know what they're talking about. He went on to discuss the attorney that handled Hernandez's lawsuit when he sued MLB, in saying, I know the lawyer that handled his case, and I know that they went through everything that he was graded on. He was in the top 20% of umpires. If you look at, trying to find, there was another part here that I wanted to, here it is. Okay, according to umpire scorecards, Hernandez ranked in the 22nd percentile in accuracy and the 21st in consistency, which he faced plenty of criticism online, which West felt was very unfair. In the same article, which I'm getting from the New York Post, about what West has said, a former MLB manager said to the Post's Mike Vaccaro that he believed Angel Hernandez was wont to make mistakes while calling games. Said the manager, quote, "It's a long game. Sooner or later, he was going to fuck you out of one." So there was a lot to that. If you go on our friends over at Close Call Sports, Lindsay does a pretty good job of going through everything here, where the article here says, the first really big thing that they cite is in 2013, and I'm sure there was plenty of stuff before this. Don't get me wrong, but the national ire began in 2013 when he was an acting crew chief, and they had just introduced instant replay for home runs only, and there was a game where the Athletics were in Cleveland, and a ball that looked to be a home run was called in play. It was challenged. They went to the replay, which at the time they had these monitors in the bowels of the stadiums near the umpire's locker room. And basically all the umpires could do, the 3 out of the 4 umpires would run in, look at the monitors and the replays and whatnot, and they could not tell this on this limited replay monitor, which was a small screen by today's standards, when you look at what's in the replay center in New York now. And he basically said, we have to let the call stand, because on this limited monitor, I can't see exactly what has happened. Now, if you look at the TV replays that we all had access to, or to which we all had access in at the time, it was clearly a home run, but they didn't have that. And as a result of this is something that helped create the Replay Operations Center in New York, which was a $30 million project that doesn't include the annual $2+ million salaries of the additional 8 umpires that were hired because of this. And that does not include the cost of the non-umpire replay headquarters staff. So, right off the bat, he played a role in expanding replay. Hernandez changed baseball in a different way when he filed a lawsuit against the league in which he alleged racially motivated and national origin motivated discrimination.
Well, there's your bias right there.
Exactly.
Right? So
there's even more.
Right.
So that's another thing right off the bat where, in reality, that this caused, when that happened, all of a sudden, people were immediately adding accents to Latin names, kind of as a result of that, in like the media guides and whatnot. Mm-hmm. I think the sad thing about that lawsuit was that, and again, this is me talking. It seemed like the person who was involved at the time as with heading the umpires that caused a lot of the issues that made him like not advance in the ranks was Joe Torre. And Joe Torre, it seems like really had a beef with him to the point where he was going to screw him in reverse for what he thought were the calls where he got screwed. And it had nothing to do with race. And it just so happened that Angel used race as the basis of trying to get the lawsuit going, when in reality it was just someone's trying to screw me. And using race was kind of the way of getting, it's a sensitive topic that at the time was used to, put more motivation behind it.
Right.
So it's just the whole thing is just really, really unfortunate when you continue down the path of people who have defended Angel. The second one I want to bring up is our friend Christopher Russo on High Heat. He literally went out of his way on his show on Tuesday to leave the guy alone and just say, it was just say, I'm not gonna rain on his retirement. Like, whatever the reason, the dude has given himself the opportunity to retire, and it's going to be what it's going to be. And let's let the man, kind of go out with some credibility and dignity. I mean, you reach that level and you're like, I've earned this, blah, 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 and his co-host, Alana Rizzo, who I find myself disagreeing and disliking more and more, went on the tirade of saying it's about damn time. She joined the masses of people who wanted to rain on his parade. And even Chris Russo just said, I'm not going there. It's not fair. So I wanted to mention that. And then the final one, which when I heard it last night, Aaron Boone actually comes to Angel Hernandez's defense. Boone was asked in his pregame press conference out in Anaheim his thoughts. And this is what he said, quote, "It's a long career. I think he's wrongly been a poster child and can be a punching bag of officiating." He added that the treatment has sometimes been unfair and over the top. Boone continued by saying, quote, "The reality is he spent a long time in this league, cared about his craft, and I wish him well." And when I saw that, I was like, wow. So I don't want to give credence. I don't want to give airtime to the people who have gone out of their way to celebrate his retirement like, thank God he's gone. Because it's just not right. I really have such a problem with it. And I recognize that umpires are not perfect, and we don't know what's going on inside his head. Hell, every umpire with whom I have spoken who knows him has gone to bat for him, saying he's the nicest guy. He will literally give you the shirt off his back. I saw a clip. This was a couple of years ago. There were he was working the plate, and his crew was walking off the field in Washington. And the corridor where they walk back to their locker rooms is between fans, and there were some fans kind of reaching down and saying, "Hey, can I have a ball? Can I have a ball?" and whatnot. And Angel just stopped and said, "I'm all out of ball. Like, I'm sorry, I don't have any." And one fan had a ball and a pen and just said, can I have your autograph?" So Angel stopped, let him throw down the ball and the pen, signed it for him, and then just threw it back up. Like, he didn't have to do that.
Right.
It was so. I'm like, that to me, that's so nice of him. Like, okay, yeah, it sucks in the middle of the game where maybe you don't agree with his call,
right?
But the dude does not need to do that, and clearly he's been caring about his craft. Clearly he's been trying really hard, and I hope I don't sound like I'm going on the offensive when I'm saying, get out there and try it yourself.
Yeah.
Strap it on, go work a game or two. Well, when I said it that way, strap it on, that sounded really dirty. Yep, you're looking right at me. I know. Okay, well, this just got creepy. Put the plate gear on, go call balls and strikes, and tell me what you think.
Right. Yeah, it's funny because like the more you like dissect the career he's had and the instances where the controversy was there, it's like he becomes more and more a victim of circumstance
Yep.
almost, right? It's like because of one bad call that influenced replay, eyes have been sort of on him, and it's like he's just making mistakes that a lot of umpires make, and it's like people haven't. I feel like it's cyclical with him, right?
Right.
It's like something bad happens, he makes a bad call, like a really bad call. Okay, all right, yeah, that was wrong. Okay, whatever. And then people are like, oh, here he goes again, right? And then time passes and he's doing okay, right? Time passes and yep, fine. But people quite haven't forgotten. And then up, he makes another bad call. And people are like, oh, well, there it is again. And he always gets it wrong. Well, no one ever says, oh, that was a good call.
Yeah.
Right. If, I compare umpiring to audio engineering in that no one ever compliments you or realizes well, I would say not audio engineering in general, just like movie scoring or sound design, where you don't really know if you can't hear anything wrong, then you're doing a good job.
Right.
Right. And so like if no one notices when you're doing a good job, right? It's only when there's a bad call or when something sticks out in the audio, like people say, oh, wait a minute, that doesn't sound right. So it's, I think it's, again, he's sort of been the brunt of a lot of jokes. And I mean, and just he's been, I would say, I'll go even as far as to say vilified.
Yes.
I mean, it's, I know that's a really strong word, but I mean, really, like, it's over sports. Like, that's the other thing that you kind of that's the other layer is like, this is a game. Why are you so concerned about a game?
Right.
Like to the point where you're going to vilify someone like they're committing genocide or something.
Right.
It's not like he's he's going around and
He's not Hitler,
Right. Like, really, let's put our priorities in order here, okay? And it's like, and if you put a lot of money on a sport, that's your doing.
Exactly. That's on you.
That's on you. So it's like you don't have a stake in it unless you make a stake in it.
Right.
And then if that stake becomes a mistake.
Right. Exactly. I see what you did there. Yeah.
But
in the same way, not to cut you off, in the same way, that's the same thing with these players and coaches and whatnot, in that, you have chosen to go into a profession where human error plays a role. Right. And if you think that Hernandez's judgments are what could make or break your ability to remain employed and to get a salary and to feed your family, that, to me, that's a little short-sighted.
Yeah.
Because one guy's calls are not going to influence things. There's always going to be other stuff to which you can point to say, what about this? Well, if you didn't do that, what about this? What about this here? Right.
And it seems like a lot of players and coaches are coming to his defense, like people in the game, right? Are like, it's more the fans, I would say.
Although I will say they're like CC Sabathia has gone to town to destroy him. And when
I'm not saying all of the coaches.
No,
players,
I just wanted to point that out. In one of the articles, it says that when he with the news of his retirement, Sabathia put up a GIF of the Looney Tunes "That's All, Folks." You know,
Okay. Well,
like talk about. There's a reason. There's a reason I do not respect CC Sabathia. It has nothing to do with race, gender, ethnicity, disability, sexual orientation, or religion. It has everything to do with the fact that he treats other people poorly.
Right.
And he treats one person poorly in a way where he goes out of his way to mock this person.
Right.
And that's not cool.
No. But it seems like the fans, I think, are the brunt of
And the media. The fans and the media.
Because of the media.
Yes.
Right. So the media and paints Hernandez in this negative light, and the fans pick up on that, and now they're like, they've got the rabbit ears, and they're like, oh, well, wait a minute, when is he going to mess up next? Up there he is.
Yep.
Let's get him. You know.
Yeah.
But that's how it goes, and it's like they're waiting for the next mess up, and you know, all these people that are saying, oh, good riddance, oh, finally, you know, we can breathe again. I'm like, you realize there are still like what, 100 other umpires?
There are 76 full-time umpires.
So
okay,
take your pick. I mean, like what, who's, I mean, and that's the thing now. Like, if I'm, you know, going to prognosticate here a little bit, usually when someone major retires, right? Someone who is vilified by the community, that leaves a vacuum, right?
Someone else has to become the vilified person.
Someone now has to be the scapegoat. So I wonder who's that going to be?
Oh,
right?
I have ideas of who it'll be, and I'm not going to fuel the flames here with it. But you know, it's the same idea of, you know, someone has to finish last in the graduating class of medical school,
right?
You know, that's just natural.
Mm-hmm.
But in the same way, as an umpire colleague said to me once, there are 76 full-time umpires. Angel Hernandez could be the 76th out of 76. He could be the worst out of all 76. He's still the 76th best umpire in the world right now, and he's better than you.
Right.
Period.
That's why he has that job and you don't.
Exactly. Same thing. You know, you might be going to the doctor who finished last in his class at med school.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. He still arguably could be a better doctor than you. Okay?
He still might be better.
Yeah. The stakes are a little different.
Right.
Medicine versus baseball.
Right. I got my online degree from Howard University.
Oh, there you go. There you go. I downloaded my degree. I downloaded my degree in 15 minutes after paying a reasonable sum of money from a school, I think called like Clown U. So
perfect.
Krupp U. If I can bring back a little West Side Story.
Yeah.
And let Stephen Sondheim roll in his grave a little bit, because that's the one line that he didn't write, and then what's his name, Bernstein, got lyric credits for that.
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
Bernstein.
You know what? For that, it's Bernstein. Okay. You're going to do that, you're going to be Bernstein.
Next time we play golf, I'll spell it Bernstein.
Bernstein. Yeah. Burnstein.
Right.
To really mess it up.
Right. But yeah, no, I think the whole controversy surrounding his retirement, and you know what, whether you agree with him or not on these calls, or even if you've had beef with him, so what?
Yeah.
Let the guy retire. Like,
exactly.
It's over. Like, okay, you can be happy if you want. Great. Keep that to yourself.
Right.
And just enjoy baseball. Like, isn't that the point? I feel like, you know, you're so hung up on one guy's call that how can you enjoy the game that way?
Yeah. What is going on in your life that's how you prioritize things?
Right. So it's like, there are bigger issues right now going on in this world, and you're going to choose to focus on one guy's calls?
Right.
Like, you need a hobby.
Yeah.
Go play some golf.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
although those are probably the same people that throw their clubs
Mhm.
and get all pissed off on the golf course.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
I
Or
mean,
just, or play a video game,
Right.
and I don't know, take up sewing, or just
read a book.
take a walk.
Yeah,
Yeah. I don't read, so
yeah. I know you don't.
I just
That's cool. But here's the other thing too. There's that other argument where people say, I would always say things like, okay, but he's a good dude. Well, a good dude does not fit the description of someone who needs to be an umpire. They need to be good at their job.
Yeah.
And I say, well, you know what? I hate to break it to you. He kind of is, and he's better than you.
Yeah.
And let's look at the statistics here. Show me where anything that happened was so egregious that the world vehemently changed for the worse.
Right.
Okay? Like a lot of Phillies fans go after him, especially because of the call that he had with Kyle Schwarber recently within the last couple of years.
I think I remember this.
Yeah. And I have to go back and tell everybody.
Was that the one where he slammed home plate with the bat?
Exactly. Yeah, he got called out on strikes on a pitch where, again, I will go over this chapter and verse if you want. The box on the screen is not 100% accurate, people. It is as inaccurate as the yellow line in football. So use it as a tool, not a crutch. The pitch that he called for strike 3 did not appear to touch the box. However, in the grading system that Major League Baseball uses, it was a strike, and he got the call correct. But because we only see what we want to see, we decided to make him out to be the villain. And how dare Kyle Schwarber, be penalized when his reaction as a petulant child was warranted and justified because of the injustice of being called out on strike 3.
Right.
I got news for you, folks. Kyle Schwarber's paycheck still made it into his bank account for that game. Okay?
Right.
Kyle Schwarber can still pay his bills.
Right.
We can't.
Right.
Okay? like Kyle Schwarber does not give a flying bleep about you. I hate to break it to you. So we got to stop. We have to stop defending Kyle Schwarber in this case. It ain't worth it.
Right.
Just look at it for what it is. It's a call in a ball game.
Right.
All right. And I think he still had like over 90% of his calls correct on balls and strikes that night.
That's what I was going to ask. Like, what is his percentage? Do you know?
I don't know off the top of my head, but keep in mind.
How dare you?
Yeah. My autism has failed again. God, I'm just going to go kill myself.
Oh, God.
I'm sorry. I'm going to go check the die box.
Well, at least give me his number. What's his uniform number?
5. He
Okay.
was 50. He wore number 5 when the leagues were separated with American and National League. He wore number 5 for the National League. When they merged, he switched to 55 because our good friend and friend of the show, Dale Scott, wore jersey number 5. And then when Dale retired, Angel went to Dale and said, "Do you mind if I take jersey number 5?" And Dale gave him his blessing.
Oh.
So
there you go.
There, my autism has been saved.
Yes, it has.
Okay.
You have not only given me his number, but a story behind it.
Yeah. So I guess I guess I can still kill myself, but it'll be a happy killing. Yeah.
Yay, I got the uniform number right.
Yay, exactly. Time to die. Bye. Sorry. Yeah.
But you'd have to say it would be 90%, right? I mean, if you had to like, I mean, what's considered the best percentage and the worst percentage, would you say?
Look, we've talked about this many, many times before, in that the computers with the automated ball strike system, not the challenge system, okay, when you do these computerized strike zones, only get the calls right about 90% of the time. The average human umpire gets 96% right. Okay, so that's a pretty big difference.
Right.
Even if Angel only shoots a 92, he's still better than the computer.
Right.
Okay, and I would say this. Okay, look, there are 162 games in a season. Each umpire probably works. Let's see here. You got to take off at least 4 weeks, and then there's 2 more weeks. Each umpire maybe works 120 games. 25% of those games are behind the plate. So that's
So 30
you
games.
probably have between 30 and 40 plate assignments. Okay, in a regular season. You're going to have some outliers. You're going to have a game or two where you suck.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have a game or two where you nail it.
Right.
And everything else is going to be median in between 92 and 96% accuracy.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I mean,
Okay.
and if you consider each game has what on average about 100 pitches.
Oh, no. I would say you're probably getting about 300 pitches, and I would say between 150
in one
to
game?
in
yeah,
one game.
It's two
pitchers.
That's right. Two
Okay.
pitchers. Yeah.
And I would say that between 150 to 200 of them are callable pitches, where a batter does not swing or hit it, etc.
Mhm.
Okay. If you're gonna shoot between 92 and 96% most of the time, it's pretty darn good.
Yeah.
And the fact that we have these umpire scorecards, these umpire auditors, these umpire hate groups, essentially, that their goal is to put up the score and highlight the missed calls. So let me get this straight. You're going to shit on a guy for missing one pitch according to your rigid grading system, which is different than MLB's grading system. And you're not going to congratulate him for the other 199 pitches that he called correctly.
Right.
Okay? Just take a step back and think about how stupid
Right.
that sounds.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
And I vehemently wish that people who look at life that way could have people look at the way they run their life and their job in the same way.
Yeah.
And I don't wish that on people per se, like I hope you get yours.
Mm-hmm.
Like karma's a bitch, man. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But we just it's so we're so desperate to have people just take a step back and calm the hell down.
Right.
And this is the same thing. Angel Hernandez, even if Angel Hernandez is, shooting a 90% regularly, maybe he's not the best in terms of accuracy. Still better than a lot of people can do.
I mean, he got to that point somehow.
Yep.
Right.
People just don't seem to understand that there's so much more that goes into it.
Yeah.
There's so much more, people. And
in the end, it's just a game.
Yeah.
Like I that's the thing I keep going to, which I keep going back to which I keep going. It's that, you're getting so worked up over, you're getting worked up over one guy making one incorrect call. Like,
Yeah.
And it's about something that is so inconsequential. You need to really.
These are the same people who lack the ability to even just take a step back and look at the sunset and just go, that's pretty.
Yeah.
And then just move on.
Right.
You don't have to sit there and go, oh, this sunset is orgasmic. No, you don't have to do that. Okay?
Well, I do.
Well, you do. That's different.
Right.
I mean, I can't tell you how many times during a game sometimes, like in between innings, I'll stop and take a look around, and some of these fields will have like trees and landscaping nearby, and I'll just stop and I'll go, those trees are pretty.
Yeah.
I like how the one with the red leaves is standing out between all the ones with the green leaves. Exactly. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Autism wins again. But if you don't have the ability
No,
to
you're
do
right.
that,
You are right though.
if you don't have the ability as a fan,
stop
especially
and smell the roses.
right, if you don't have the ability as a fan, especially as a parent, to stop and go, wow, I'm really lucky. I got a healthy kid, and I get to watch him play baseball.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
That tells me all I need to know.
Yeah. And people, and that's the other thing. It's like, consider the situation you're in. Like you're watching. You have the luxury of. There's some places in the world where they don't have this.
Yeah.
You can't watch a game. You can't watch your kid. There's some places where kids are lucky if they even make it to school.
Right.
And you're complaining about a call by someone who's paid what, $30 a game, and depending on what state it is, I guess.
Right.
But like you're yelling at a high school kid.
Right.
Over like, get a life. Get a life.
I will. No, you're right. No, you're right. I will wrap it up by transitioning to this. Okay. And it's very apropos. We have our gala coming up. In fact, the day that this episode drops, the gala will be the next day. Tickets are still available. So I made a speech at one of the trivia nights recently. I wrote this 3-page speech about why the gala is important, why it helps fund what we do, and what it means to me. And I found myself to be very open and very vulnerable, and to say, like, when not by attending this gala, not only do you allow us at OSIP to continue our mission, and I listed everything out properly and whatnot. I said the other thing that you do is you fuel me. You essentially tell me life is worth living, that the mission of our organization and what I aim to do with this is worth the fight, and you empower me to keep on keeping on. And I really laid it out there for people. And the room eventually got silent. I got a round of applause, all that good stuff.
Good.
So I did that right before I read the final answers and announced the winner of trivia. Congratulate the winners, bring them their prize. The team that comes in second says, hey, I think there are too many people on that team. I thought there was a limit of 10. I think I counted 12. And I just stopped and I just said, okay. And I walked away and I thought to myself,
this happened after your speech?
Yes. And I thought to myself, after everything that I just said, that's what you heard. Essentially, you did not hear me at all. You just decided, no, it's more important that I win trivia, free trivia, than it is for me to consider the words that you just spoke.
Right.
That's all you need to know.
No.
I mean, that is not just a metaphor, but that is a rhyme template that describes everything that we've just discussed about Angel Hernandez.
Right.
And
more overarchingly, that's sort of what makes this an uphill battle for us in terms of sportsmanship, is because sportsmanship is something that we should all be able to understand.
Correct.
At a rudimentary level, and we acknowledge that we do. But when push comes to shove, it's in one ear and out the other.
Yep. So
it's something that, again, it's intangible, which makes it more difficult. But at the same time, it's just as easy as it is to be an asshole about it.
Yeah.
It's also easy to be a good person.
Yeah.
Like, let's read the room.
Right.
It's like, okay, so the other team had more people. All right. Well, there are more trivia nights.
Exactly.
Like, get over it. Like,
Right.
it's, it's not like one team had 20 people on it or 50 people on it, and good for you then.
Right.
Because it means more people are
And you know
involved.
what? Here's the other
But-
thing, too. So when we do these progressive trivias, so this is over 4 weeks, and the rule that we enforce, so to speak, is that no team can have more than 10 people on it. This team in question had less than 10 people for the first 3 weeks. And for the final week, they said, unfortunately, 2 extra people showed up. Is it going to be that big of a deal? And I was just like, it's the final week of this. I don't care.
Right.
If you think that this one call is going to make or break trivia, and in fairness, the team that did win, that had 12 people on it,
Mm-hmm.
as they overheard this, one of the guys who realized he was like the 11th or 12th person actually went in and said, shit, I gave the team X answers that were right. If I take those away, would the score have been different? He was feeling guilty about it.
Right.
Like, kudos to him.
Yeah.
And I was just kind of like, I can't believe that we have gotten to this point where that's what's essentially happening.
Yeah.
Like, read the room. That's the 1 week that you have 12 people is the equivalent of the one pitch that Angel Hernandez might miss.
Right.
You remember the pitch he missed, not all the pitches he got right.
Right. Yep.
So, with that being said, we hope to see you at the gala.
I got my tuxedo, and if
Yep.
you want to see how silly I look or how handsome I look,
Oh, you look handsome. You look like a villain, but you're handsome.
oh, good.
Yeah.
That's the idea. I even shaved a little bit.
Wow.
So, yeah, I
Wow.
don't look like a hobo. I
Beauty's
still
in the
do.
eye of the beholder.
I know,
so-
right.
Yeah.
You got to call him as you see him, right?
Exactly. Hold on, let me strap it on. And
oh, man.
okay, that's enough.
Yep.
Inside at normal movie studios, they yell "cut." Here on this show, we yell, "That's enough."
Or bye.
Bye. I think that's enough, as I just said. So I'm glad we could have this discussion. And as always, everyone, remember the gala is on June 2nd. Tickets are still available. Go to osafoundation.org/gala to get yours. Still some tickets available, and it's looking to be a great night for a good cause. As always, check us out at osafoundation.org. Email the show at the address podcast@osafoundation.org. Facebook.com/OSAFoundation, X and Instagram @OSAFoundation, #HowYouPlayTheGame. Sean, thank you as always.
Of course.
We'll talk to everybody in just a few short weeks. And until then, treat each other with respect.
How You Play the Game is a production of the OSIP Foundation, Incorporated. The producer-engineer of this episode is Sean Ryan. Music by Soundspring Studio. The executive producer of How You Play the Game is Jack Furlong. For more information, visit osipfoundation.org.